Here we go. This is Mappa. Welcome to another episode. And unfortunately, the international break is upon us. I know this is Mappa for a couple of weeks at least. But hey, a lot of stuff happened this past weekend. I'm Stel. I've got Roy. I've got Kyri. Gentlemen, how are we doing? Kyri's beaming after his team won 3-0. Bomba.
I'm all right. Things are starting to take a more familiar shape in the table. Some is less welcome than other things, but yeah, it was more of the favorites kind of like won this round after a while.
Lovely. And Roy, you feeling good after our show the other night with Omonia winning?
Yeah, that was fun. That was nice. It was like we said that day was probably the second time this season that we did a podcast, and we were happy about the performance, the overall performance. But I agree with Kyri that this around this game day, it was as if things fell into the place. No surprises. Okay, maybe a small surprise was Aris beating Ajax, but other than that, all the results came naturally. The favorites won the games. The underdogs didn't manage to steal points, which up till now has been the characteristic of the league this far. That you didn't know who was going to win. You weren't sure about any game. Hopefully, it's going to continue to be that way, and because it's too early for. But on the other hand, you expect some of the traditional teams who haven't started the season off very well, including our team, still my team, that they're going to start winning the games. So that's it, like a general first opening statement. What do you think, Stel? How are you?
I'm good. I'm raring to go with this one because a lot has happened. And we're going to cover 3 games. I know there's loads of games that happened, but there are 3 main games that we're going to cover. And the first one is Anorthosis beating Buffalo 1-0. It was a pretty even encounter with Buffalo having the better opportunities early on, but Anorthosis goalkeeper Zur made 2 very, very good saves. This goalkeeper is pretty decent. I saw him against Flora in Tallinn in the Conference League game, and he kept Anorthosis in that game. He's coming for Loria, and he's done very well. But Galza scored the winner, a close range header, which Rudko probably should have dealt with. I know it was practically in front of him, but it almost went through him like it's a FIFA glitch. But at the end, Buffalo had 3 penalty claims. There was a foul on Semedo, even though it looked like he kind of slipped as he cut inside. A possible handball by, I can never pronounce his name, Hambansium Jan, whatever his name is. I don't even know. He's got like the longest name on the planet. He's got a longer name than you, Roy. And then a possible handball by Popovic. Now, the last 2 handballs, Kyri, I've seen them given. I think the last one from Popovic was more of a handball than the number 19, because I'm not going to try and butcher his name again. But what did you make of the game overall?
I think the result is fair. I mean, a draw was on the cards as well. But neither team really kind of like impressed. Obviously, Anorthosis scored that early goal. I'm not surprised they kind of receded a little bit after scoring. I am sympathetic to Rudko. I mean, I know you said it went through him and it did, but it was a really good cross from Correa. Those types of crosses where it makes it difficult for the keeper to decide whether to claim it or to stay on his line. Obviously, certain keepers are more commanding of the penalty area than others. But yeah, good cross, good header from Calzas. Yeah, it was okay. I mean, Semedo could have scored as well. I think it was from inside the box on the right-hand side in the first half. I actually expected him to do a bit better, but like you said, keeper was good. Yeah, I think it was a professional win for Anorthosis, if you can call it that. And also there was like a few more reminders of Christodoulou's age in the game. There was two specific cases, and like I said, I'm a fan of his quality and his attributes as a player. But okay, one, he was on the counter, pretty much 1v2, and I guess he tried to chop it back in, but I guess two things: one, not as agile anymore to make that happen, and two, you know, when players have suffered really big injuries and they're afraid of actually trying something that they might still be able to do, but you know, when he turned, he didn't really, I don't know, I think he was afraid to actually complete the chop. And the other thing was when I keep forgetting Brazilian named Júlio, no, Pafos's player.
The striker, yeah. I know
Yeah.
you're talking about, yeah.
But yeah, he nicked it off Christodouloulos coming from behind his back, and I think Lazarus realized that he was caught sleeping there, and he stretched his right foot to make it seem like it was dragged back by a foul. Very veteran's move, but yeah, like I said, I mean, he's 34, almost 35 years old. So, but yeah, I can't take too many conclusions from the game. It was like a home win for Anarfosi.
Absolutely. Roy, what do you make of Buffalo this season? They've been a bit, I mean, I said Anarfosi was stop-start, but Buffalo started the season like a house on fire. Then they lost to AEL, and they'll win a game, they'll lose a game, they'll win a game. I don't even know how many draws they've had this season, in all fairness, but from what I'm hearing, the president is looking for more players to bring in January. We're talking about attack-minded players as well. What does that tell you about how much faith faith he has in his team, should I say?
Pafos is a prime example that money just by itself doesn't help you win trophies. If you look at the budget of Pafos, it's probably the second or third highest budget in the league. But they've been struggling to have, I think it was Scambri who said this, not about Pafos, but generally, I think, speaking, that you should try and build an identity and a character as a team. And what characterizes Pafos is the instability. They don't have a philosophy. I mean, they've got someone spending the money, but I don't see a long-term plan. I don't know if Mitchell Salgado is still there, because last year that they signed Salgado to help them?
Yeah, they had some kind of agreement with him, but I don't know whether he was just acting as a
ambassador or
yeah,
whatever.
I don't know, because I know he's in Dubai.
No, I think he was actually working here in Paphos. But if you think about it, you know, Paphos is a big city. They're represented by one team in the first league. I think that they've got a potential to take on a good day, let's say 2,500, 3,000 fans. You know, they've got the players, they've got some very good players there. And I think they let everyone down, because everyone believes that this year Paphos is going to do, because they start off like really shitty, and towards the end of the season, when there's no pressure, they can marginally make the top 6. They start winning games towards the end, and we always say, it's because they need to gel, and if they've got the quality and they've got the talent, they change their manager. And I think everyone expects more from Paphos, but they keep letting everyone down. This is what I think of Paphos this far, and I don't know how it's going to change. Okay, they haven't been a threat to the traditional powers of the league this far, but with the amount of money they're spending, they should do better. I don't think they have many excuses, because, like I said, everything's there. They've got people who spend money. They represented a town, and they've got the fans there so they can go watch them. They've got like a fan base of a few thousand people. But when they're playing, what characterizes them the most is the instability and the lack of identity. I mean, I don't know what is Paphos. It's 15 new players every year and 2 different managers and they never manage to gel. What are they? I mean, I know I'm being a bit strict, and I'm talking generally, but it's the same thing this season. They start beating up 4-0, then they lose 4-0, then they draw, then they lose, then they, after 3 games, they win 1, then they lose again. I don't know.
I have two questions about Pavos to gauge your thoughts on this. One is, do they need more Cypriot players? And 2 is, does the small number of fans and the reduced pressure on the players have an adverse effect on their motivation? Is it too easy for them?
Do you know what? It's 2 very, very good questions, but I think this should be a third one, and it's down to how the club operates in general. Last season, they had Cameron Toshak, they had Mihalichenko, if I'm not mistaken, and then they had Stephen Constantine who came in, and then he was replaced by, who did they get rid of him? They got rid of him at the end of the season, didn't they? Because Stephen Constantine came as a technical director above Mihalichenko, and then when Mihalichenko left, they demoted him, but they gave him the head coach role. I'll never forget, he went on cable net, and he was saying, you know, our aim is to end in the top 6 and then move on from there slowly. Well, they got rid of Constantine, so they didn't have him as technical director. They got rid of him as head coach. So the guy that was basically their mouthpiece saying this is where we want to be has gone. So you think, well, what is the actual plan then? Yeah, I don't think there is a plan.
And also, there seems to be no patience for if there is a plan, there doesn't seem to be the patience to see it through with the staff that you sign to carry that plan out. Because how can you hire a technical director who is supposed to be the person in charge of the structure of the team, who is supposed to be thinking, what are the short-term objectives, what are the medium-term objectives, what are the long-term objectives, and how do we facilitate those things happening? How can that person then become the manager who then fails? Technically, he's failing himself by not realizing the short-term objectives. Do you know what I mean? There's just
swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, it's just very incoherent planning.
It just looks like a Moneyball effect, doesn't it? You bring in these players and you sell them on for a big fee. Apparently, Bark are linked with Valakari. But from what I've heard, Buffalo want at least 5 million for him. Now, I don't think they'll get 5 million for him. But would he even be able to play in that league? Because from what I see, he isn't a very mobile player. He isn't very physical either. Perhaps Cyprus is his level, really. I know this might sound bad, but I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I think on a technical level, he's beyond Cyprus. Physically, you might be right, although certain leagues kind of facilitate that. Like I wouldn't be, he wouldn't look out of place in some Central or West European leagues. Like the Netherlands isn't very physical, for example. It's very, okay, yeah, they have.
Do you think he can play with that pace though? Because he doesn't look like a very quick player either. He looks like he wants to dictate the tempo more than anything. Yeah,
but it really depends on what he's being asked to do by wherever he ends up being. So if he's signed by a fast tempo team that looks to hit on the counter, yeah, he might not fit. But if he moves to a team where he's asked to be the offensive fulcrum, like basically to dictate, but not from deep, but from high up the pitch, and have the team revolve around him, the way Baboulis at Apollon, for example, the team at times kind of felt like it revolved around where he was on the pitch, because he wasn't really a winger by the time he came to Cyprus. He was already a bit late in age. Okay, not the first 2 years maybe, but a bit down the line. But yeah, it just depends on what he's expected to do. To be honest, I'm not sure if Balk is I don't know. I think he might not be good enough for Balk, because Balk is a really, I mean, okay, Bisesvar is playing, he's starting for Balk, and last year he was on loan in Cyprus.
He was
Okay, he
phenomenal
came-
last season.
Yeah,
He was
I mean,
phenomenal.
he came to, you know, regain match sharpness and all that stuff, but at PAOK and like Greece in general, there's other things at play. You have to be able to withstand the pressure of being asked to be obscenely good week in, week out, because fans are really, really demanding in Greece. But I don't know. I think he has it in him to play somewhere better.
All right.
But yeah.
The future knows more than we do, but let's see. Let's see. Right, on to the next game. Addis beat AEK 1-0. AEK's unbeaten run is done. And it's Addis, the Russians, who got the 3 points. To be honest, they started on the front foot, and they took the lead through Spodjaric with a good goal. But that was after AEK went down to 10 men when Gustavo was sent off for a second yellow. But he was the first of 3 red cards in this game. I was watching the first 20 minutes and then I flicked over and then I went back like 20 minutes later and there's 3 red cards. What's going on? This is crazy. AEK hit the bar on the hour mark, but a minute later, Aris went down to 10 men. I think it was Manu Garcia who saw a second yellow. And then Aris went down to 9 men after Mazunda saw a second yellow card, which obviously is a red. Unfortunately for AEK, they couldn't make their extra man count. And that's their first defeat of the season. So, Roy, are you surprised with that result? I know AEK have been storming teams. I would say storming teams, but they've been storming the league this season. They've been grinding out victories, but they couldn't muster much against Aris. I think it was a little bit of a surprise the way they played, in all fairness.
Listen, as I said in my introduction, if there was one result that was slightly surprising, not so much because of the positions they're at the table, sitting these 2 teams, but generally as names, was Aris beating AEK. Eventually, it was going to happen. AEK seems to have been flirting with a loss the last few games. I think they haven't been as convincing, because with PAOK as well, they got a difficult victory. I think
Ugly win, wasn't it?
an ugly win. With Akhna again, they didn't really deserve. Maybe a draw would have been a bit more fair. And okay, I haven't watched the game in a whole, because obviously I saw some highlights. What surprised me is that I heard that Aris finished with 9 men. And still, you know, they managed to win. The truth is, I was slightly surprised, not because I didn't expect AEK to not lose, but mostly I don't know for how long Aris is going to continue playing at this level. Because we're saying, you know, eventually Aris and Aris is going to deflate, you know, Aris is gonna, you know, get the points now and then, you know, they're gonna start dropping points. And then in everyone's mind, I think the top 4 or 5 teams are gonna be the traditional teams, but I can't help but think that there might be surprises, because there's at least 8 teams that wanna play in the top 6 positions. And I don't know, and Aris at the moment seems like a team that doesn't look willing to let go of these positions. And I've mentioned before as well that for me the biggest surprise is Yasos Luga. Yasos Luga, for me up to now, is the best manager up until now. I wasn't sure he could be able to cope with the big names they signed there, you know. But he's doing an amazing job. They're playing really well. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see Aris, how long they can continue playing at this level and continue surprising us pleasantly. AEK now they have to show a bit of character. Obviously, it was just the first loss of the season. They're going to have to show what they're made of, how they deal after the first loss, because the next games, I think, is against Apoel after the international break. So they're playing with Apoel next Monday. Ike. So that's a very important game for both the teams as well. But yeah, this is, let's say, a general statement from me about Aris and Ike. I think that's what I'm going to be doing. And because I never watched the games.
No worries, man. No problem. Kyri, the second yellow cards for all three players, very clumsy, very clumsy. And you think, when you're on a yellow, why are you making those challenges?
I was thinking actually for Cyprus, when you see 3 red cards, you're thinking some shenanigans have taken place, right? When you see the timeline of events, if you're not watching the game. But it was, I think, the cleanest game of 3 red cards I've ever seen in Cyprus. Because, like you said, it was, they were all yellows. Okay, the Aris' second red card, it was I wouldn't call it soft, but it was the most clumsy, just very clumsy. But like Aris' first red card, Manu's second yellow card, was a full-blooded yellow. It was orangey. It was a bit orange.
So why are you making that challenge? It's on the halfway line. The ball's not going anywhere. I mean, you watch the replay. Even the cameraman kind of missed it because he saw the ball going, I think, towards the sideline. Something. Why are you making that challenge? Doesn't make any sense.
Very strange. But just to say something, I think you mentioned before that Spogliarit scored. Spogliarit kind of created the chance, but it was assisted by, because he crossed. It was like a mid-height cross from the right-hand side, from what I call the De Bruyne zone, which is not the wing but not the middle, just like on the corner of the area. And I think Stebinski flicked it for
Kvajuk. Was it Kvajuk?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Sorry, I made a mistake there. I don't know why I said Spogliarit. I don't know. Maybe because we spoke about him on the last show. I was doing some research on him before, but I didn't realize he played for Atletico Madrid when he was a youngster.
Yeah. He was obviously, there was 2 brothers. He was the most
talented
promising one. But, he was the promising one. But yeah, like I said, it's easy to say that he hasn't met his potential, but like I mentioned in the previous podcast, it's not easy. So happy to see him playing week in, week out for Aris. The other thing for Ajax, like the effects of the red card didn't really escape them, even when they went, and the same number of players, and even when they went with a man extra, because the Anglesu was fouled. They got a set piece. There was a header. Okay, not very threatening. And then there was nothing for like almost 10 minutes until the 95th. So I don't know. I felt like they didn't like left out of second gear or something. They just it didn't really happen for them against Aris.
Do you think it's because of the way that they play a certain system? Because it's almost like a 4-4-2, isn't it? The way that they set up, but because there's so much movement between the lines, when they are a man down, it's almost as if they need that 11th player to make that difference. Now, as you said, they didn't create anything. I know they hit the bar before the red card or the second yellow. I forgot who got sent the second yellow. Was it? I forgot who got the second yellow, but it's almost as if that chance that they had, the way they hit the bar, that was the closest that they came to scoring throughout the whole game. I don't remember Alves being threatened at all. So maybe that's something for the manager to work on. They took off Derbyshire, which perhaps was a bit of a mistake because him and Driskovski have been pretty decent this year. But then again, when you're down to 10 men, you've got to sacrifice someone, I guess, but I don't know. But I guess it's still a learning curve for them. We were saying, that they brought in just as many players as Aris and Buffo. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the classic question when you go a man down. Do you go 4-4-1 or do you go 4-3-2? But you have to be a very brave coach to go for the second option. But yeah, I mean, he did try to change a lot of things because he took Derbyshire off 46th minute. He took Barrera off same minute, so double change, 46. He took off Naum. Sorry, he put on Naum on 62nd minute, Angleso 68. So he tried to be proactive, but I think Aris just were too resilient, even after they got their own red cards.
Do you think there may be Gadala's philosophy should be switched a little bit? Don't be afraid to go route one sometimes.
I suppose so. I mean, it's easy to say that in hindsight, but yeah, maybe then there needs to be a bit more flexibility with certain sides. I know Apollon went direct against Aris. I can tell you that. Well, okay, not route one maybe, but a bit more basic in the yeah. Anyway,
excellent,
yeah.
Lovely. All right, let's move on to our third game because we've got a couple more to talk about very briefly after this one. But Apoel, they trounced IL 3-0. And this was embarrassing. I thought Man United's loss to Man City was embarrassing, the way the United played. But this for IL was, and I'm not taking anything away from Apoel because they stormed them. But from the first minute, it was front foot. And, you know, they went with a 3-4-2-1 in Dongala, was like a right wing back. He was absolutely phenomenal on the right-hand side. And IL just looked like completely devoid of confidence. Now, they took the lead from the spot when Nadal was brought down by Bruno Santos, who had a nightmare of a game. I mean, if you want to see how not to play football, just watch Bruno Santos that game. His decision maker was terrible. It went to VAR and it took forever and a day to make a decision. But when you look at the angle behind the goal, the penalty is clear as day. I don't know why it took so long, but anyway, Kvilitai scored just about. I don't think Vozinho would have saved it if he was in goal, Roy. Just saying, you know. But then Santos got sent off for a handball. Again, stupid. When you see it, you think, what are you doing, mate? Honestly, what goes on in some people's minds? I don't know. And from the resulting free kick, Lucas Souza scored. Now, I didn't see the middle finger incident myself, so maybe that's something that Roy and Kyri, you guys can discuss because I haven't seen it, but there was a big hoo-ha about it. And then Kvilitai wrapped it up with a third, with a poacher's finish. Real deal, isn't he, that striker? Honestly, when he gets going, there aren't that many strikers in the league better than
him. Roy, go ahead.
Okay, just a general thing about the game. I agree with how you described the game. It was embarrassing for IL. It was probably the most poor performance IL put in this season, and it wasn't that Apoel was, you know, steamrolled them or anything, but it was probably the same for Apoel. It was probably the best performance Apoel had this far. And don't forget, the last 4 games, Apoel has won 3 and drew 1 game. So it seems, whether we like it or not, that Apoel is heading towards the right direction. I still don't believe in their team. I think it's a result of individual quality more than a team playing as a unit. And I think that the defensive midfield is very slow, even though Souza is by far the best player this far. Without them, I think without Souza, they're going to be brain dead, I think. But slowly and steadily, like you said about Kvilitai, he started scoring goals now, and he's good. And Natel is good as well. And Villi is good. They have some quality, no doubt, in that team. The middle finger incident, I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't know. Is it worldwide? Isn't this the symbol for corner?
what actually happened? Because I didn't see it. What happened? And I don't. Like I said, I've read something, but I don't. What happened? All I see is a photograph of him sticking his middle finger up. But what did that mean? I mean, I know what it means, but why? What's the explanation?
It's corner, I feel. Well, Apoel were playing, you know, and he wanted to show to the referee that it was a corner, so he went like that, man. I don't know. Doesn't this mean corner? Isn't the symbol of corner worldwide? Put it in.
I don't know, Kyri, tell me. Does that mean corner? I'll just be like, yeah, corner.
I'm not sure if I have anything to add.
What the fuck, man? Sorry, I know we don't use a lot of swear words in this show, but what the fuck, seriously? It's as if they're taking the piss, man. They're taking the piss. Instead of like saying, you know what, our player misbehaved, he showed disrespect. Similarly to what beat us a few weeks ago, he didn't stick a middle finger, but he got into a conversation with some of the Apollon fans. And Fanurios Konstantinou said, you know, we're going to pull his ear because this is not the way to behave to the fans, because they're the ones who pay us and you should respect them, and he's going to be punished. And instead of Apoel saying, I didn't expect them to say something similar, but at least don't fucking take the piss, Refil. I mean, seriously, how stupid do they think people are? Seriously, I mean, it's not enough that I fucking hate that team. They don't make it any easier to sympathize or like them. What is this? What is this? This is just toilet level, Refil.
Can I approach it from a different angle? Which is, I have to I have to acknowledge, I've seen a lot of Apoel fans react to the press officer, to their own press officer, and to the board, because they go, we've just beaten a major rival, 3-0, clean 3-0 win, big performance, and you're talking about VAR lines and penalties and the middle finger incident. It's like, if you don't rest this week, do you know what I mean? It's tiring for people, even for their own fans. I think that they're just tired of this constant. I mentioned last week, right, about Ari's press officer being chill and shocking me because he was so calm. Well, we're back to regular schedule now with the combative, acidic exchange of words from press officers. Yeah, and I mean, I agree with that. You've just won 3-0. Dominated, Isle, dominated. Okay, possession finished 50-50, I think. At some point it was 68-32. You mentioned City United. It was, yeah. Isle were terrible. Okay, even with the red card, but the only thing I'll say about Vilidaya, who is actually sharpening up, going into December and January, I think although he played really well, I think the assist was accidental. I think he tried to twist his head slightly towards goal to divert the. I think might have been Okriashvili's chipped cross, right? I think he was trying to divert it towards goal, but it flicked towards Souza, who, like, I agree with again with what Roy said. He's a key player, really crucial player for them.
You know, speaking of press officers, and I know it's quite related, but social media. I showed you guys this yesterday. How brilliant was this? Buffer complaining about the handball against Anorthosi, and then Bayek coming out with this tweet. I mean, for crying out loud, I mean, I love it. I love it. They're not afraid to do it out in the open. It's Cyprus. This is Cyprus, right? For Christ's sake, absolutely brilliant.
I think they've slowly, but I think they finally wised up to, if you're any football club from anywhere in the world, if you have an English language Twitter account, it's a chance for going, semi-viral on football Twitter, because it doesn't take a lot. All it takes is a bit of sass, just being a bit spicy online. And to be honest, I would rather this. I find this entertaining rather than going, we have on Dondade, on Polis Haralambus, or on Supersport or Radio Prodo, whatever. and just like going at it. I much have this back and forth on Twitter with, with GIFs and memes and stuff. At least we can, this is kind of funny and you can, have fun with this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, a couple quick things before we wrap it up. First of all, Kyri, your Apollon won 3-0 against Doxa. Darbo scored the first and then 2 penalties after that. Although the third penalty, perhaps that should have taken more time on VAR because it looked like it was on the edge of the box, but it doesn't matter. The game was done by that time. And Roy Omonia, 2-0 victory over Ethnikos. We spoke about it at great length on the No Choftes podcast. The football was fantastic. It's what we've been lacking this season. Loiza scoring with his right foot, absolutely brilliant. Kyri, tell us about your team, and then I'll let Roy say what he has to say, and then we'll wrap it up with just one little thing.
Yeah, I'll go bullet points. I'll go really quick. I think it was a really well-deserved win for Apollon. I'm not just saying that because they're my team. I think it was a good, solid performance. Again, I am bemused they took 4 minutes on the first penalty. It was as clear as day that it was.
It took him out. Completely took him out.
Yeah. The only question was a yellow or red. The commentator said it wasn't a red because Dabo was not in possession of the ball, and I'm not aware of the rules, so this might be the case. I genuinely.
That seems even more of a case to be a red card because it's off the ball.
Yeah, I mean he was inches away from just poking the ball in the net, pulled back, yellow card, which ties in to the second penalty. You know how in Cyprus they do this thing, refs, where they make a mistake and then they try to rectify it for the team. And I have a feeling that instead of giving a red, they just gave us a second penalty, which I think it was a foul. I think it was right on the edge of the box. But just to skip over a lot of things, the bad things is Bitas injured, Hambo's injured. Bitas walked off, so it doesn't seem too bad. Hambo's, okay, he has had a lot of injuries throughout his career. He had to be wheeled off, and it seems a bit more serious, but they haven't said anything about estimated times of healing of the injury or anything. So those are the only 2 bad things. Other than that, it was a pretty clean win.
Splendid. And Roy, very quickly with Ammonia.
Okay, I'm gonna start how I finished on No Choftes. That it was probably our best performance this far. But it's like all games give you 3 points. It just gives you 3 points. We have to build on what we saw. It was the first game that we won so comfortably. The scoreline could have been a lot bigger, but on the other hand, Ethnikos could have got a goal in the second half. I mean, the first half for me, we dominated them. We had them up against the ropes, and it could have been 3 or even 4-0 the first 45 minutes. But the second half, what changed is that we were more clinical. We didn't create as many chances as the first one, but we got the 2 goals. We got one that got disallowed, but Ethnikos was the team that had the clear-cut chances with Flori, with the bar they hit, with the save from Panayi and one from Peradikos. They at least the four opportunities they had to get a goal back, and the game wouldn't have been as comfortable as the final result shows. Like I said, if Omonia wants to defend the title, they're going to have to go on and beat and run. And even draws are not enough at this point. But all in all, promising performance that has to make it count. We have to continue winning games in the future because we are sat behind the table.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Flori Tolmesi's miss. You know, we know him very well. He's a good bloke. We love him to bits. And today, put on his Instagram, it's his wedding anniversary. And I was so tempted to say, "You didn't miss that, though, did you?" But I didn't. I didn't. I love him to bits. And if he's watching, I love you, Flori. Right, gentlemen, one more thing very quickly. The standings. This is the league table. Apollon, top of the league at this moment in time, going into this international break with 21 points. AEK second on 20. Aris 19 points. Abuel up in fourth. Oh boy. Anorthosi, who've had a stop-start season, 4 wins, no draws, believe it or not. And Olympiacos, AEL, Bafo, Omonia, league champions, 9th place, but only 2 points off top 6 with a game in hand. So boys, hope you guys enjoy your international week break, because I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll probably just sit in the corner rocking, crying because I can't cope. But thank you again for doing this. It's been an absolute great show. Anything you guys would like to add before I wrap it up? No? Do you think Cyprus are going to win their games?
Yeah, I really have to go, man.
You have to go. Hadi, wrap it up. This is Mappa. Till next time. Goodbye.